without a care.
Hey, thanks for stopping by and watching this second episode of our 2 weeks in Tassie, a fantastic road trip. To be honest, by this stage of the trip, we are enjoying ourselves so much we didn't pick up the camera enough to be able to convey the story here. Take our word for it, a fantastic holiday destination. We are certainly not vloggers that are here for the income. We are just here to share our journeys and experiences and create memories. Maybe some of the info we provide will help you in your holiday research.
Doesn't look like much food. It's not really much food, but remember, this is one of a lot of feedings.
When in Launceston, we heard about Seahorse World. Now, Kim is a thing about seahorses, so off we head to Beauty Point on the Tamar River in Tasmania's north. You remember Beaconsfield? Well, Seahorse World is just north of that. We chose a guided tour which lasts 45 minutes. So many seahorses and sea dragons. It was great, well worth doing. Interestingly, most of these hippocampuses are bred for the aquarium industry due to wild harvesting and habitat destruction. The success rate here is very good and they're doing very well.
A bit of water, just like that. That's normally the best place to hold them.
They feel like it.
Then we head up to our accommodation near St Helens, which is one of our next viewing experiences. St Helens is known as the game fishing capital of Tasmania, but we are here for the Bay of Fires. You might think it's called the Bay of Fires due to the orange rocks that are dotted along the sandy white beaches. In 1773, Captain Furneaux saw the fires from Aboriginal peoples along the shore, hence Bay of Fires. The orange on the rocks is lichen that arises from the algae that lives in the cracks and crevices of the rock. So it's Tuesday the 14th, it's Valentine's Day. I was meant to be taking my lovely wife on a beautiful Valentine's Day boat cruise, but due to this swell they've cancelled it. So I'll find something else romantic to do. Next up we head south into Coles Bay near Freycinet National Park where it's time for a walk. Freycinet was a French explorer who, after fighting the British in the late 1700s, was appointed to explore the southern shores of Australia in 1802. Captain Flinders had already been here, but that didn't stop Freycinet from naming a few places for himself. Plenty of great walks here in Wineglass Bay.
Don't ruin Photoshop there, then.
Oh, it's a video, so I got your voice saying don't ruin. Oh.
This special walkway was formed by nature using the elements of iron, steel and recycled polypropylene. No,
I particularly like the hail damage shot polypropylene.
Naturally occurring polypropylene. Yeah.
It's time for a penguin tour. We call them fairy penguins in the west, blue penguins here in Tassie. Let's hear what the guide has to say.
Sometimes known as fairy penguins. We no longer call them fairy penguins in Tasmania.
but they are known as that on, certainly on the mainland in some states. He stands about 330 millimetres tall, 1 kilogram in weight. So he's the smallest of the penguin species, of which there are about 16. And if you compare him with the big emperor penguin over there, he stands about 1.2 metres tall and about 33 kilograms in weight. They generally try to come up in a group. The bigger the group, the better, because it's a little bit like us out in the water, which is why we don't want to flash those cameras or anything in their eyes. Now, see that last one there? He's fat, definitely. You'll see him when he's trying to drag himself up over. The other two, now the way to tell if they're feeding chicks is if they've got a bit of a bulbous shape on their neck, right? Because they hold the fish just above their stomach in what we call a crop. Yeah, he's definitely going home to molt. I will talk, I will. So here we go, there they go. So when they come home to molt, they have to conserve a lot of energy. So this fella's been through the molt on his own. And it won't be that long before he's back out into the ocean. The little penguins actually cope really well. They can maneuver themselves through the surf, and even though they might crash up against the boulder, 300 grams, that's about a quarter just in that area. They bring that home every night to feed their chicks. That's what it is. We can agitate that food to the chicks. That's the female. Unless you've got the male and the female together, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. But the female will have a more slender and longer beak, and her head features are also a little bit more slender. See the little chicks? They're very young, these chicks. I'd say probably 2 to 3 weeks old. I assume that's theirs. I'll get a nip if it's not. I don't know. I'm not sure whether that's their parent here, actually. Now there's two inside. This is what a burrow looks like. Underneath that log, there's a burrow there, and this particular one, I'd say just starting the molt, and his partner is actually inside there, also molting with him. The other thing is, and this is something that they've just recently found over at Phillip Island, because they tag and trace them over there, they've got a big research program going. The males aren't particularly faithful. Oh, I'm not a vegan. Sometimes they actually come out and try and get food off us humans too, by the way. So any questions before we head up to the bus? So,
So this is Richmond Bridge, the oldest bridge in Australia, built by convicts. The limestone was hewn from a quarry about 2 kilometres away. We are 25 kilometres out of Hobart, where we find this amazing bridge in this intact colonial era town called Richmond. This was well worth a visit, with the restored buildings, the oldest intact jail in Australia, and one of the best vanilla slices I've ever had, thanks to the local bakery. Existing jail in Australia. There were some older ones, but they've collapsed. All the convicts are still wearing leg irons. Okay, this is one of the prisoner rooms. If you've been a bad boy, you get locked up in here. Sensory deprivation, lights off, doors shut, locked up. Off to the flogging yard we go, or it was an exercise yard too. Oh yeah, I guess they'd string them up on there and give it them. So Emma Martin was in here for 21 days for insolence in February 1938. All she was given was bread and water. And the bucket is the toilet. It's time to hit the Salamanca markets. Everyone's heard of these markets, probably one of Australia's most visited tourist attractions. It's only on Saturdays. It's chocker full of knickknacks, food and drinks, booze and buskers. 300 store holders and all apparently. Well worth a visit if you're into that sort of thing. Where are we, Kim? Windy Mount Wellington.
Yeah, we're right at the top.
Hell of a drive to get up here.
It's a bit adventurous.
But luckily we found a parking spot like that. Probably can't hear a thing because it's so windy up here.
So can you see for us?
Time to squeeze in a Bruny Island tour.
A short voyage across, about 8 or 10 minutes. Then we get on Bruny here at Roberts Point. The distance from here to the lighthouse, by road, 63 k's. So maybe Bruny's turning out a bit bigger than you imagined. This morning we will... What will we do? Might still drop into the Bruny Island Honey Company here, and I'll backtrack and get some oysters and some cheese for our weird little picnic. Then, depending on how rainy it is, might just have to adjust our picnic spot, but it'll be down here somewhere. Then we'll go down to the lighthouse, and you can't really adjust much for weather down there. You just have to get out and enjoy it. And then we do 2 tours through the lighthouse, so 10 each. Have lunch at Hotel Bruny, then we'll go to Bruny Island Chocolate Company, then we'll go round back of Adventure Bay, then we'll go to the Neck this afternoon. We'll have a bit of break in the weather. The probability of rain decreases from about 11. We'll go to the cheesery. You can spend a bit of time in there. So you will have sampled some cheeses, but you can go and buy some. There's a brewery there as well, so you can try some of their beers.
So we're on the Bruny Island ferry on a shitty day. Oh well. Bruny Island foodie tour. Skip's over there setting up some oysters, which we're looking forward to. I'll give one a crack. It's a bit windy and a bit cold today. Anyway, got to get out and about, don't you? So what have we got on offer?
Cheese, bread.
And how are you meant to eat oysters? Because we're not oyster experts.
Oh, true. Well, you'll probably screw your eyes up and try and swallow them whole. But you should chew them, I reckon.
Okay.
Alternatively, you can get a lot of Sydney rock oysters around in warmer climates. Typically, these are described as bigger and creamier.
Alright. I'm videoing you.
Oh no.
Oh, you got to dig it out there.
Yep.
Oh.
And you're not spooning them in? You're not doing them in?
Are you chewing or swallowing? Just a half chew and a half swallow.
Yes, baby. You can do the chew if you need to.
Very salty.
You should smell the salt.
Oh, really?
So the lighthouse itself was started in 1836. They brought 12 convicts here from Port Arthur. Those 12 convicts were given a challenge that if they could build the lighthouse within 2 years, they could have their freedom. So a huge amount of stone that just 12 men had to quarry and build in 18 months. So I think they definitely deserved that freedom, didn't they? Yeah. Yes. Maximise that light out to sea. And on a clear night, this could be seen up to 48 kilometres away. So a serious magnifier. Also quite beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Does the modern lighthouse still do, is it still distinguished by its timing?
Yes, still once every 10 seconds, but it's like turning a light switch on and
Right,
off.
okay.
Yeah. Not very romantic. That's why it's a tight squeeze. All right, so that clockwork mechanism was in underneath here.
A quick stop at the neck that separates North and South Bruny. Apparently it's an isthmus. What a spectacular view. I think they are shearwaters giving us that awesome flying display. This is also where the memorial for Truganini is, commemorating the Aboriginal woman who inhabited the island prior to European settlement. This was interesting, the Bruny Island bread fridge. You will see this novel, mysterious bakery on the side of the road. Restocked once a day with a variety of breads and cookies for travellers to stock up. It's probably one of the must-visit spots on the island. That's it for our Tassie trip. We hope you have enjoyed it. So much to do in Tassie. Put it on your tourism list.